Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today is a beautiful day to sit down, pour a fresh cup of coffee, and dive into the latest drama unfolding in Port Charles. We always love sharing these moments with you, and the upcoming twists are truly something special. I have to be completely honest with you all. My heart has been racing ever since I started piecing together the latest hints about what is really going on behind the cold, unforgiving walls of Pentonville. When I look at the situation with Jen Sidwell, I feel a deep sense of dread washing over me. It is not just the fact that he is behind bars, but rather the terrifying realization that prison might not be a punishment for him at all. Instead, it feels like he has simply moved his base of operations to a place where the law can no longer touch him. I sit on my couch watching these scenes unfold, and I just want to yell at the screen because it is so clear that Sidwell has been planning his loyal people inside that prison for a very long time. Long before he ever got arrested, he was setting up a safety net. And that kind of dark, calculated planning just gives me the shivers. Think about it for a moment. Pentonville has never been a place of true justice or rehabilitation. It has always been a breeding ground for corruption, and we have seen this dark reality play out time and time again. Do you remember when our beloved Drew Kane was locked up in there? My heart just ached for Drew every single day he was trapped in that nightmare. The corruption in Pentonville runs so deep it practically seeps out of the concrete walls, starting all the way from the warden down to the lowest-ranking guards on the cell blocks. Money talks louder than morals in a place like that, and someone with Sidwell's immense wealth and influence can buy every single person in that building. I am absolutely convinced that he already has the entire prison staff in his back pocket just waiting for his command. This whole terrifying scenario immediately brings back memories of Cyrus Renaud, does it not? I remember watching Cyrus run his entire criminal empire from the comfort of his prison cell, acting like a king sitting on a rusted iron throne. Cyrus proved to all of us that bars and razor wire mean absolutely nothing to a man who knows how to manipulate the system. Sidwell is cutting from that exact same cloth, but I fear he might be even more ruthless. Cyrus had the guards looking the other way, he had inmates carrying out his dirty work, and he pulled the strings of Port Charles without ever stepping foot outside. Now, I see Sidwell stepping right into those same shoes, taking over the prison hierarchy with terrifying speed. In any prison, there is a strict pecking order, a food chain of power, and I have no doubt that Sidwell has already crowned himself the man at the very top. The people at the top of that prison hierarchy do not just sit around, they rule with an iron fist. They order their subordinates to punish, terrorize, or completely eliminate anyone who crosses them. And this brings me to the part of the story that truly makes my stomach tie up in knots, our dear Curtis Ashford. Oh, heaven help him. My heart just breaks at the thought of what Curtis is walking into. The latest spoilers suggest that Curtis is going to be thrown into Pentonville, and not just anywhere, but right into the lion's den as Sidwell's cellmate. When I read that, I actually gasped out loud. How much more can Curtis possibly endure? He has fought so hard to rebuild his life, his health, and his family, and now he is being tossed into a tiny concrete box with a monster who wants him dead. It is almost too much to bear. You see, Sidwell has a massive axe to grind, and his target is Jordan Ashford. Sidwell threatened Jordan, and we all know that the most effective way for a cruel man to hurt a woman is to destroy the people she loves. Curtis is going to be the ultimate pawn in Sidwell's sick game of revenge. But here is the truly terrifying part. Sidwell is far too smart to get his own hands dirty. He is not going to attack Curtis himself. He does not have to. He has an entire army of planted inmates, those deep-rooted weeds he grew inside Pentonville, ready to do his bidding. I can just picture the chilling scene now. Sidwell sitting calmly on his bunk, reading a book or smiling that cold, dead smile, while his goons corner Curtis in the yard or the shower room. It is a cowardly way to fight, but it is exactly the kind of venomous move I expect from a snake like Sidwell. I am so terribly worried that a brutal, calculated attack on Curtis is imminent. Every time the cell doors slide open, my heart is going to be in my throat. Curtis is a strong, capable man, a true fighter, but no one can fight off an entire prison full of paid assassins looking to score points with the new boss. It is highly likely that this is going to be a coordinated assassination attempt designed to look like a random prison riot or a tragic accident. And of course, Sidwell will have a perfect alibi. He will make sure he is chatting with a corrupt guard or sitting in the infirmary when the attack happens, ensuring nothing can ever be traced back to him. The sheer injustice of it all just makes me want to cry. Curtis does not deserve this, and the suspense of waiting for the other shoe to drop is going to keep me on the edge of my seat all week long. But let us look at the bigger picture here, because my mind is just spinning with all the possibilities. Why would a man as powerful and resourceful as Jen Sidwell agree to a plea deal in the first place? It never made sense to me until now. I firmly believe he took that plea deal because he already had this massive, corrupt network waiting for him inside Pentonville. He did not go to prison to serve time. He went to prison to take control. He avoided the risks that Curtis took because Sidwell knew he was walking into a fortress he already owned. It is a brilliant, albeit evil, strategy. He can sit safely behind those walls, protected by state-funded guards who are secretly on his payroll, while he plots his next massive move. It gives him a feeling of absolute power and invincibility, ensuring he never feels overwhelmed or defeated by the authorities. And what exactly is that next big move? I am convinced that a daring, explosive prison escape is in the works. Once Sidwell takes care of his loose ends, namely making Curtis suffer to punish Jordan, he is not going to stay in that dreary place forever. I can see it playing out like a blockbuster movie. His planted guards will leave a door unlocked. His inside men will stage a massive distraction, perhaps a fire or a riot in the cafeteria, and in the chaos, Sidwell will simply vanish into the night. But an escape of that magnitude requires incredible preparation. He cannot just walk out. He needs a brand new identity waiting for him, a secure location to operate from, and entirely new business ventures to fund his life on the run. He is going to have to start completely from scratch if he makes it to the outside world. Starting over is not going to be easy for him, especially since we know that his current assets are being auctioned off to the highest bidder. While Sidwell is playing king of the cell block, power players like Sonny Corinthos, Valentine Cassadine, and Drew Kane are out in Port Charles fighting like wolves over his leftover empire. It is such a fascinating contrast, is it not? On the outside, his legacy is being ripped apart and sold for parts, but on the inside, he is quietly building a brand new, terrifying criminal syndicate. If his assets on the outside are seized and gone, unlike Cyrus, whose wealth remains somewhat intact, Sidwell will have no choice but to rely on the illicit funds he generates from behind bars. He is literally growing a new illegal empire from the ground up, using the prison system as his personal greenhouse. I just find myself shaking my head at the audacity of it all. It is one of those classic Port Charles storylines that completely hooks you and refuses to let go. The idea that a man can be locked away from society, yet still hold the power of life and death over our favorite characters is both infuriating and incredibly compelling television. I am so emotionally invested in Curtis's survival. I want to jump through the screen and warn him, to tell him to watch his back, to not trust the guards, to never turn away from his cellmate. The psychological toll this must be taking on Curtis, constantly living in a state of hypervigilance, is a story of survival that I know will bring tears to my eyes. We all know the deep, lingering trauma that comes from surviving Pentonville, and I am praying Curtis makes it out with his soul intact. Sometimes I wonder if the authorities in Port Charles will ever truly clean up Pentonville. It feels like an impossible task. Every time they cut off the head of the snake, another one grows back. First, it was Cyrus Renaud terrorizing the inmates. And now it is Jen Sidwell stepping up to the plate. It makes me feel so protective of the good people in our town who get caught up in this endless cycle of corruption. Jordan Ashford is going to be absolutely beside herself with guilt and fear when she realizes the danger she inadvertently placed Curtis in. The emotional fallout between Jordan and Curtis as they navigate this life or death crisis is going to be incredibly powerful to watch. I just hope their love and resilience can outshine the dark, oppressive shadow that Sidwell is casting over them from his prison cell. As we look ahead to these upcoming episodes, I am bracing myself for some truly shocking moments. The writers are clearly setting the stage for a massive confrontation, and I am here for every single second of it. Whether Sidwell decides to stay and rule his underground kingdom from a concrete cell, or whether he orchestrates a violent, heart-stopping escape into the night, the impact on Port Charles is going to be devastating. My thoughts remain firmly with Curtis, hoping against hope that he finds an ally in that dark place, someone who is not on Sidwell's payroll. Thank you so much for letting me share my deepest fears and hopes about this incredible storyline with you. It feels so good to talk about it with people who understand just how much these characters mean to us. Let us all keep our fingers crossed for Curtis, and I cannot wait to see how this thrilling chapter finally unfolds.